You know, we throw around the words sadness and depression almost like they're the same thing. But are they? Well, the short answer is no, not at all. And figuring out the difference is actually pretty crucial. So, in this explainer, we're going to break down why getting this right can totally change how we see ourselves and how we support the people we care about.
Okay, let's start right there with that quote. That's powerful, isn't it? This isn't just about feeling down. It's a heavy physical weight. And to really get what that means, we first have to talk about a feeling every single one of us knows. Just plain old sadness.
Right, and that's the thing about sadness. It's a universal part of being human. It's totally normal, and honestly, sometimes it's even a healthy way to react to the wild ride that is life. Look, having a bad day doesn't mean you're weak. It means you're human. You're living your life. Sadness is just an emotional response. And the good news is, with a little time, it usually passes as things change. And usually, sadness has a reason. You can point to it. It could be something huge, like a major loss or losing your job. Or, something as simple as getting a bad grade, or just a gloomy, rainy day that throws you off. There's a why behind it. Okay, but here's where things get a little more complicated. And this is really the core of what we're talking about today. Sadness comes and it goes, and it's tied to something specific. So what happens when that feeling just sticks around? How do you know when it's crossed over into something more serious? This is the turning point, isn't it? It's that moment when the feeling stops being a reaction to your life and starts getting in the way of you actually living it. And that's when we have to start talking about clinical depression.
So what's the dividing line? Well, time is a huge factor. According to the actual psychiatric guidelines, for a doctor to diagnose a major depressive disorder, the symptoms have to be there for at least 2 weeks straight. We're not talking about a bad day or a rough weekend. This is a sustained, difficult period.
All right, so let's really break this down. Let's put these two experiences right next to each other to get a super clear picture of what sets them apart.
Now, check this out, because it lays it out perfectly. When you're sad, you can usually still find a little bit of joy, right? You can laugh at a funny movie or enjoy a good meal with friends. But with depression, that joy just disappears. The things you used to love, you just don't care about them anymore. And maybe the biggest thing is that sadness feels like, well, sadness. But depression can feel like a deep, overwhelming emptiness, almost like you're feeling nothing at all.
And this brings us to what is maybe the most critical distinction of all. To really, truly understand depression, we have to stop thinking of it as just a bad mood or a personality flaw. It's a complex medical disorder with real physical roots in our biology.
This is so important to get. This isn't about a lack of willpower. We are talking about actual, physical, measurable changes happening inside the most complicated organ in the human body, the brain. And I mean, look at this. This isn't just a theory, we can actually see it. Things like key parts of the brain responsible for memory and decision-making can literally be smaller. Your brain chemistry is off balance, your stress hormones are going haywire, and even your sleep patterns get completely thrown off. It's a whole body illness. Honestly, this is probably the best way to think about it. You would never, ever tell someone with asthma to just breathe better, right? Or someone with diabetes to just think their blood sugar down. Depression is a medical condition, and it deserves that exact same level of seriousness and care. So, knowing all that, what do we do? Whether this is for you or for someone you love, what are the practical next steps? Let's talk about how to actually offer support and find a way forward. First, let's just take a second to understand the challenge we're facing. Get this, the average person suffering with a mental illness waits over 10 years to ask for help. A decade! That's exactly why breaking the silence and knowing what to do is so incredibly important. For someone in the middle of a depressive episode, even making a phone call can feel impossible. So offering specific help, like, hey, can I help you look up some doctors? Or I can sit with you while you make the call, can be a total game changer. And please, don't be afraid to talk openly. All the research shows that asking someone directly if they're thinking about suicide doesn't plant the idea. It shows them you care, and it can actually save their life. And finally, this might be the single most important piece of advice. It almost always comes from a good place, trying to relate. But comparing their medical condition to a time you felt sad can make them feel completely misunderstood. It can even make them feel guilty, like they're failing because they can't just snap out of it. The best thing you can do? Just listen.
So that leaves us with this final thought. Understanding the difference between sadness and depression, that's step one. But the next step is using that knowledge to build more empathy, to tear down stigma, and to create a world where reaching out for help isn't seen as a weakness, but for what it really truly is, an incredible act of strength.